All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Read. We're in 1 Corinthians 8 today. So before I pitch to Brandon, a little context. So the situation that Paul is writing to in the church at Corinth is a group of believers who understand that if meat is sacrificed to idols, like literally other gods that people would worship in their community, neighborhood, whatever, it's just meat. Like they can eat it. It's not a big deal. Just because it's been sacrificed to an idol doesn't mean that it's somehow tainted. It's literally at the end of the day just meat. But the context is that some of the earlier, younger, more new Christians, that's probably the best terminology to use, the newer Christians who were maybe just fresh out of being a part of that particular religion that did sacrifice to idols, is having a hard time. And they're like, hang on, I thought that we weren't supposed to have anything to do with idols. And so they're having a hard time differentiating in their mind rather than their more mature counterparts who understand it's just meat at the end of the day. So, Brandon, do you want to throw out an example to us of how we might use this in 2020?
I think there's a couple things that come to mind. Maybe you have a friend that's like all about PETA, like no meat at all, and like you're kind of having barbecues, and they live across from you. They're watching you, slam on chicken, steak, whatever, and that really offends them. I think for you, if that offends them that much, you need to kind of withhold from that, maybe stay away from it, especially if they're like believers. You guys can differ on the thing. And I think this verse 9 is what really stands out to me. It says, but take care that this right of yours does not somehow become a stumbling block to the weak. And you can apply that. I don't know how you can do it with drinking. You can do it with buffets even. You take something like that where people are really just taking in so much gluttony, I guess is what it's called. And, if that causes somebody to stumble, then, really you're the guilty party. And I think for us is, we need to watch, what we're putting out there in front of people. So.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think one of the things that I love most about any of these things that Paul talks about in his letters is that our focus should ultimately be on love of neighbor. And so if go back to your example, if you've got a neighbor who is super into vegetarian, no killing any meat to eat at all, then if it's an obstacle to the gospel with that person, then for a time, just don't do it. Allow there to be time for the development of growth. And I think that's oftentimes the thing that, and I don't know about you, B, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but one of the things I see missing from when this passage is taught is oftentimes, let's say it's in the area of drinking in particular, people will use it to say, well, just don't drink at all, because you never know when you might be in a restaurant having a glass of cab and someone sees you drinking that glass of red wine and then it causes them to stumble. But the reality is that that's not at all what this passage is saying. Rather, it's saying that a person that's early on in their faith, if you're in their presence and it's going to cause them unnecessary temptation, then just simply don't do it in their presence. That is clearly what's going on here. But it's also not saying that person that is younger on, that is more immature in their faith, gets to stay there. Rather, if you rewind to what Paul said earlier in 1 Corinthians, it's saying, hey, listen, I want you to mature up, to come to the point where you're no longer on milk, but you're actually chewing on the meat. So that can oftentimes, especially with maybe the area is alcohol, maybe it's PETA, like you were saying, Brandon, with particular meat eating, that's a great opportunity for us to show grace and not do those things around younger believers in the faith, but then to, in our not doing it, use that as an opportunity to then teach them, hey, listen, I'm not doing this because I don't want it to put an unnecessary distance between us, but I also want you to begin to grow into the understanding that, hey, it's just meat sacrificed to idols. At the end of the day, it's just meat. You can eat it, enjoy it. It is a freedom of God to eat meat, to have a nice glass of red wine. The reality is that we're always prioritizing the love of neighbor.
Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, thanks for tuning in. That's going to do it for this week's episodes of the Daily Read with Brandon, my more handsome counterpart. Your wife has already told me to stop calling you that. I can't. It's just true. Guys, we love you. On a serious note, we love you. We just really hope that these silly few-minute videos encourage you in your faith. Brandon, you got anything for the end of the week?
Oh, have a great weekend. Stay indoors, wash your hands, all that good jazz.
Absolutely. Wash them hands. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.
Yeah.